Welcome to the Aid Station. I'm Chris Robb, and today it is a real pleasure to be heading up to Bangkok in Thailand to catch up with Narongchai Wongthnavimok. Great to see you again, Narongchai.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thank you. Wonderful to see you. You are the group CFO of the Dusit Group, formerly the CFO of Thai Airways, and from a running and mass participation perspective, which is really important for our viewers, you are a 6-star Abbott World Marathon Majors runner, which is just amazing.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I do. I think I run used to be running for pleasure, but now it's becoming running for objective. Then, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit about your story. I mean, you've got an amazing. We met for the first time in Bangkok about a year ago when yourself and myself were both speaking to the Tata Consultancy Services Marketing Group, and you told your inspirational story there, and you then came to Singapore and spoke at Mass Participation World Conference, and every time I speak to you, I learn new things about your amazing story. So no one can tell it better than you, so maybe tell the viewers a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, I'm a seasoned business-oriented finance person in the banking world. I spent 25 years in banking, ranging from Bank of America, Citibank, Standard Chartered, all the way to like Siam Commercial Bank, and my last post in the bank was CIMB. Then somehow in 2015, I was poached to go into a new territory with the CFO of Thai Airways. I spent there for 3 years, and then I left the company for 3 years, which I have to say is the most fruitful 3 years of my career. It's a very difficult job, and it's a totally new territory. So then I started working with Dusit Thani about 18 months ago in September 2018. So aside from the working, I do golf. Actually, I golf for 25 years or so. I also earned the teaching professional license. Then I started running in about June 2014. So now I'm a little bit shy of 6 years. Then I just ran for health initially. Then I start to get more serious. Then I start traveling around the world, enjoying the marathon, half marathon, mini marathon in throughout the world. Then I earned the 6-star major marathon in October 2018, and my last was in Chicago. So I did six events of 6-star major in 2 years. The first year in 2017 was London, then Berlin, and then New York. Then the following year will be Tokyo, Boston, and Chicago. So I did in two years.
Wow, amazing. And maybe share with us the story of, you said you started running for health, and you know, it was an incredible transformation to your life, if I remember the story correctly. I mean, you were pretty unhealthy when you took up running, weren't you?
Yeah. I think I was like close to 78, 79 kilograms in 2014. And now I'm about 10K lower than about 60. I weighed in this morning at 67. Wow. And the good thing is my my heart rate is now like in the 40s when I wake up.
Wow.
So it's getting much better shape, and get to see the doctor, and then he started to say, hey, please keep running, don't stop.
Wow, fantastic. What a great story. And so currently we were talking, you're about to take some time off. You've been working flat out for, I think you said 35 years, and you're busy winding down with Dusit Group at the moment, and you're going to take some time to reflect and decide what the next chapter is. But what's life like in Bangkok at the moment around COVID-19, and just generally your life as well? You've taken some time out, if I'm right, to have a little bit of an operation which you've been delaying for a while. So all these things starting to open up in front of you, and some time to reflect and maybe change tack in the pause that COVID's giving.
Yeah, I think thank you for bringing this up. I have some stones in the gallbladder for a few years. Then I I never stopped working in between. I moving from job to job, but it's like today working in this company, then I start working in the next company tomorrow. I never have a gap.
Mm-hmm.
Then 6 years, past 6 years I've been running, so I don't want to take the rest. Then I went to see the doctor last Monday, the Monday before last. He said it's about time to do something with your gallbladder. So I said, okay, let's do it. So I went to see the doctor, made a schedule to do it last Tuesday, actually 3 days ago that I did operations. Then it's basically it's a time that I have some gap in between job, and the gap that I don't run from one event to event. So now whatever I train, I don't have event to go anyway because there's no event to run. So then now I've been working from home for the past 2 months or so. And I like it. I think working from home can give you a much more concentration when you are stay alone and in your home, and then unless you got some distracted by family members or dogs or whatever. But I think it's very productive, and you don't get to travel. You don't have to move from one meeting room to meeting rooms. And I think when people are in the same meeting room, they still sometimes they digress a bit. So I think it's much more productive this way. But given that the job that I have, I'm a CFO, so I can looking at the presentation, looking at the numbers, looking at this kind of thing. So the meeting can be concluded much earlier. So I think it's an absolutely change to us, not just me personally. I think it changed to like the world, the social, the people. How do we live in? I think one thing that I've been reflecting this situation about a couple of weeks ago, and I get to see news like the turtles actually come out on the beach next to the Phuket airport, which is very busy.
Yes.
They do that past 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
And they do that about a month ago. Meaning the world is getting more peaceful. And I'm reflecting on that situation where, look, I think we human beings actually exploiting the world too much.
Yeah.
We use everything. We use all the resources. We dump all the garbage to the environment, to the nature. I think it's about time we should start. We should have done that long time ago. But it's a very strong message from the nature. Hey, look, please don't take us for granted, the nature for granted. So I think we have to respect the nature because we are living in it. So and somebody will probably don't think that, hey, look, we can keep doing everything that what we do, dumping all the garbage, doing everything which is spoiling all the nature, taking what you call damage to coral reef. This is not good. I think it's about time that we should start thinking. And then I'm glad that even the Thai government start to do something like they plan to shut down the park, the beach, like 3 months in a year. So that I think is great. And I think it's a good initiative. So this I think it's a strong message from the nature.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, Thailand is such a beautiful country, so many incredible islands and beaches and coral and everything. To give it that opportunity to regenerate is amazing. I'd love to go back a little bit to, you know, you ran the six majors. You went through many challenges. As a leader, you've obviously gone through plenty of challenges in your life and in these times. Just interested to kind of combine those challenges with leadership. I mean, what's maybe some of the toughest decisions that you've had to make recently? And, you know, what are some of the challenges that you've overcome and the things that drive you to overcome those challenges as a leader?
I think as a leader, one thing that I see that there are always a tough decision in business world, in the office, and a tough decision in life. So I think the key thing that I make the key decision in the past was I probably have to go back to that when I was in Thai Airways. I was the first outsider CFO to join the company in the history of 55 years of Thai Airways.
Wow.
This position has been like internally ranked up in the past. I was the first outsider to go into this position, and that was a lot of resistance. And that was one of the major decisions that I made in the past 10 years or so. That joining this company is like going to a very untested environment, going to an unknown environment. So it's a very big decision, and I'm glad I made it.
Yeah.
And I think we not. I cannot say I have to say we in the finance team back in the Thai Airways. We did make a decision to do some hedging of the FX transaction involving close to about 400 million US dollars transactions, and that was like huge transaction that happened. And we did some cross currency swap with regard to the interest rate from one currency to another currency, and at the end of the day we made it, and then we got like interest saving of about 100 million US dollars in the process. So that's I think that's a very good that's a very key accomplishment. Yeah. But the key thing I don't really want to talk about that success story, but I like to touch about being a leader is about an art of balancing between high level, because we are leader, we're looking at big picture on the top, but we never get to see small little balls underneath in the detail. So it's an art of between balancing between the high level to the detail level. Because if you decide on something and at the detail level the nuts and bolts cannot operate, then it's not a good decision.
Yeah.
So the key thing to this is you have to listen. You have to understand the situation. You have to understand the issue from the very top to the very bottom. Of course, there are always be issues whereby people don't like it, people are opposed to it. You have to act. You have to coordinate this kind of thing to make this to macro level and micro level to integrate effectively.
Yeah.
I think that's a key thing, and I think that's a very I would say this is more an art than a science.
Yeah, look, it's a great point, and I think so relevant in these times, isn't it? You've got governments having to make decisions, and people feeling in some countries, people feeling very disenfranchised because decisions are just being handed down. In other countries, there's shining lights where there's been great communication, and I think it's relevant in every level of life, isn't it? You know, even in families now, locked up in rooms together, communication, working for everyone's objective is really key. Now, I'd love to end, and as always on these, time flies by. You've got some incredibly inspiring stories. You know, getting your 6 marathon majors, you know, running in the snow in Boston, and all those kind of things. But what if there was any one story, whether it be your running or your life, that you could pick up that would be a story that would inspire people in these times when many people viewing this may be still locked up at home around the world? Have you got an inspiring story that you'd love to share, please?
Sure. Since you brought up the Boston thing, I probably give one of the accomplishment or inspiring story is actually human is made of flesh and blood, but there are things that is not physically that are things that is not physically visible, which is here. Mm-hmm. It's the mind, it's the attitude, it's the thinking. I remember when I ran in Boston Marathon in April 2018. It was so cold. It was the worst weather in the past 57 years of Boston Marathon at that time. So it was like about 0 to 2 degrees Celsius, raining, windy, very, very, very difficult. And I was like hurting myself so much. But I didn't want to do not finish. I don't want to stop in midway. So it's a time where the mind starting to get tricky with you, whether you want to go or don't want to go. So I think what I did that back then was like to focus on need to complete this, need to finish this. So keep your mind focused on what you do, and I think that is the most important thing that people and human can do, because it's always people like mind over body. It's always true. It's always true. So it's like when you see some difficult situation, when you encounter some difficult issues, it's not your body or it's not your blood, you're not your flesh. It's your thinking, it's your attitude. How do you looking at these issues? You start to have to decouple issues one piece at a time. So it's almost like you are peeling the onion. You have to peeling layer by layer. So you want to see what's the core issue inside the core of the onion. So you start to decouple looking at this thing from different perspective, because you have to look around 360 degrees from onion. So this is thing that I been telling a lot of people, including my staff, including people, my friends, and keep positive. That human cannot face all negative in life 100% of that time. Otherwise, he or she will not going to make it. That probably died already. So it's that always a positive spin to every difficult situation.
Yeah, the power of the mind, and you shared the story, and I think a warning to all race directors all over the world: if you ever see Narongchai entering your event, be careful, because that probably means you're going to get storms, you're going to get snow, you're going to get, because in that 2 years of you doing the 6-star, you absolutely earned your 6-star, because I think you had adverse weather in almost every one of those races, didn't you? And that's why you're going back for a second time. You're looking for some really good weather, because you were sharing that you were supposed to have run Tokyo. So maybe it's all your fault that this is happening, Narongchai. Tokyo postponed, Berlin cancelled, Chicago maybe going to be there. But no, jokes aside, as always, so wonderful to catch up with you. Thank you for making the time. I wish you all the very best in your transition, whatever that may be. And certainly I hope our paths will cross. I hope it's not too long before I can get back to Bangkok. Maybe we can even have a round of golf or something like that. But lovely to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. Sawadee krap.
Sawadee krap.